All right, we want to talk about acquiring evidence in a digital forensics lab. This is a very critical aspect of being a computer forensic examiner, investigator, and digital forensics lab is not cheap. You have to excuse me, I'm trying to muff out the sound where I am and hopefully get a better quality video here by using a mic, a different type of mic. But a computer forensics lab is a very critical aspect of being a forensic investigator, and they're quite expensive. There might be certification required, and you need to be aware of the jurisdiction or the law of wherever you're located, what you must have. A big part of acquiring digital evidence is once you've acquired the evidence, having chain of custody, signing out the lab, making sure anybody that comes in contact with the evidence has been, you signed to say, I received this, otherwise you might not be able to use it in court of law. But one of the best forensics labs by FBI. So I'm going to show you a little screen in here. I feel like I can share my screen to show you FBI forensics lab. You can see on here on this picture in here, really nice lab. If you do your own Google search about FBI lab, you see that they have one of the best labs out there. You can intern with them, or you can see if they give you a tour. Of course, a lot of the stuff that goes on there is privileged. But you need a lot of things from Faraday bags to make sure that the cell phones or whatever you put inside are not interfered with or destroyed. You definitely need a lot of, preferably dual monitors, as you can see in my background. And the high power processing equipment. If you look online, it's not easy to shop around for, say, computer lab equipment. As an example, you will see forensics labs. They're not cheap, but you really need it to do a good job as a forensic investigator. In the last video, when I talked about handling hardware, these are all significant in here. Let's see here, like an example of some of the equipment that you might need. Besides the open source tools that we're going to go over in class, these things are usually very expensive. You can see some, say here, look on here, so what are the tools that I need in a forensic lab? You can see on here, this company here gives you a little site. And my internet is a little slow. But besides tools like FTK Imager, Autopsy, you need, after you've imaged it and acquired the evidence at the scene or as an incident responder, you still need to bring it to your lab and examine what's inside those evidence, right? So I mean, just acquiring the data. So computer forensics lab is very, very important. And make sure it meets standard, because if it does not meet standard, the evidence that you acquire may not be admissible in court. It may have been tampered with. Yes, when I was a criminal defense attorney or practice law, what is the best way to dismiss evidence? Obviously, if it's been tampered with, or what you call fruit of the poisonous tree, if you didn't acquire it properly with the right warrant. But again, it's very important to have a good lab. Check out the jurisdiction that you're in and make sure you meet the requirement. So in the textbook, it talks about certain things required for a digital forensics lab. The tools, the softwares are very, very important, whether you're going to use the EnCase from guidance software or the access data tools. So you need to buy this software. Some of them are open source, but some of the commercial ones are also very good. So look at the material and let me know if you have any questions about setting up your own forensics lab. You might need to go to further training to meet the requirement of the vendor, but it's actually a very lucrative field to get involved in, and you can now liaise with the local law enforcement authorities. But before I forget, something that you must have in your lab is what I call ESD mats. Besides the bags, anti-static bags, you need the ESD mat along with the bracelet or the anklet, so that if you happen to touch any components that are susceptible to static discharge, then you can protect the data. But really, I believe as a forensic investigator, you don't really need to be touching the inside of the computer unless it's absolutely necessary. You should have cloned the device or imaged the device, which takes a little longer, but clone it and make a copy, and then later on we'll talk about it, but you need to also make sure you have a hash value so that you can confirm that the image of the clone has not been tampered with and that is exact copy of the original.